So where I was, what I was trying to get back to was, working in the physical medicine industry really opened my eyes to a whole different philosophy of how to treat patients, right? In that world, they believe that the body will heal itself. And they do exactly that. They manipulate the spine. When you think about it, our spine is like the drivetrain. That's what I used to tell patients. Think of your spine as the drivetrain, and it comes from your neck all the way down, and that drivetrain is hosted by all these different nerve endings. So if you have neuropathy or you've got whatever the case is, I mean, they have such a wonderful way of dealing with different problems. And of course, we're always going to need our MDs. I've always said that, we're always going to need that. If we need antibiotics, we have to go to an MD and get that. They're not going to be able to do that for you, but there's a lot of manipulation and of just, self-healing and really taking an understanding of how our body works. So I can't encourage you enough to go do some research on that. Let's see, the oath, that they follow is totally different, like I mentioned. And return to meeting. Sorry, I'm not very good at this, so my bad. But I kind of want to go over how this industry is working. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. I put together a little something. Okay. And let's see, we've got, that's a little too much. I'm going to go over here and I'm going to start at the beginning. So we have the AMA, the American Medical Association. Those are the people that dictate to the insurance company. They're the ones that write our standard of care for our doctors in our country, right? Like I mentioned before, the last I checked in 2019, there was only 13% of doctors that were participating in the AMA. So again, ask your doctor next time you go if they're a member of the AMA, and if they're not, ask them why, because they probably would just chuckle at you and walk away because they know. Okay, so then we look up the, I wanted you guys to see the philosophy, okay, of holistic health, whatever you want to call it, physical medicine. They just have a totally different philosophy. They don't believe in synthetic meds. They know that the body is going to heal itself. We just need to learn how to do that. And working in the industry for as long as I have, these doctors and practitioners and, these therapists were always kind of looked at as fakes, or they're just gimmicks. Nobody took them serious. Why is that? And when I was working in the physical medicine, I thought, this is why people are so confused. We've got an industry of medicine where, in my opinion, this is where the medicine should start. If we can't heal our bodies on our own with the help of a professional who understands how to, treat our body, in a natural way. And there's a lot of different remedies that can be done. We as human beings should not be sick. I mean, I don't know if anybody knows that, but we should not be sick. If we're sick, it's because it's caused by something. There's always an underlying reason of why. And I've been lucky enough to work with a lot of doctors that practice that. Why is this happening? Why are you not getting whatever? Why are your levels so high? There's always an underlying reason. But the thing that I learned and what it comes down to is our health care standard of care in the country simply don't want you to get better. Okay. The doctors, there might be doctors that want to get you better, but the practices that they're going to have to choose in order to keep their practice doors open is not to not get you better. Sorry. That could be, you could buck me on that. And that's a total opinion. When we talk about pharma, who's really controlling our health care? So again, AMA writes the standard of care for the country. They're the ones that tell the insurance companies what to cover, okay? Physical medicine, they don't bill insurance because nothing will ever be covered, okay? Our health insurance, no matter what it is, okay, the health, whatever, what do they call it? The health, the insurance industry, okay, will never allow you to go for treatments, okay, with a naturalist. You might get some benefits out of it, but they're not going to see it all the way through, because the whole thing is to give you just enough to get you through it, but not cure you. That's the the mindset of the insurance. We're going to give them just enough to get them through this, but we're not going to cure them. I hear that. I heard that a lot working in the industry of physical medicine. They know, like physical therapy, for instance, you're allowed, 12 visits a year. Every physical therapy in the world knows that 12 visits a year isn't going to help you. It might temporarily help you to get you through the next few months or whatever it is, but it's not going to fix you. So let's make sure people understand that. Okay, and then we go into, I'm not going to look at that right now. Then we go into the states. Okay, then we have the Medical Board of California. What is the purpose of the board, right? What is the purpose of this board? Well, reading this, and I encourage you again, I'm going to put all these links on this video. They're really there only to make sure everybody's following the guidelines, right? The guidelines of whoever's implementing the standard of care, which is AMA. That's it. They'll handle the complaints. They're really out to make sure that the doctors are following the rules of the AMA. Okay. And then of course we have our public health department, which is in no way, shape, or form. Okay. Never, ever have they ever been involved with our standard of care. That is not their business. They're not. That's totally something different. We look at these agencies because now with this whole pandemic and the COVID and all these things that are happening, you're hearing it's like, oh, the public health department says so. The public health department has no authority over the healthcare that we receive from our physicians. Okay, remember that comes from the AMA, not the public health department, not the CDC, not the FDA. The FDA, all these agencies, okay, they're all just protecting. I look at it as they're protecting the bigger monster here. They have to get through all these agencies in order to be able to fight them. That's how I look at it. These are like frontline people. They're going to make sure your license is ready. Oh, you're not following protocol on what the CDC is recommending. We're going to pull your license. We're going to shut you down. That kind of stuff. That's all the public health department does. I don't believe it. I don't believe there's a need for them. Okay. That's my personal opinion. Okay. My personal opinion. And then, we have, when we talk about clinical research, that's a whole different beast, right? Let me go over here. I put a video together a while back, and I don't even know if I ever put it out there, but clinical research, okay, this is a whole different beast. When we're talking about government contracts for conducting a clinical research study, we're talking about a federal type of agreement, right? This no longer is the standard of care. This is not the standard of care. This is experimental. This is not care. This is an experimental program. So we have different agencies. Okay, we don't deal with the public health. We don't deal with AMA. We don't deal with the California board. This is a federal deal. So we conduct studies, we're collecting data, and whatever sponsor or pharmaceutical company study that we're working with, our job is to collect the data. That's it. We're not there to treat you. This is totally separate from your standard of care. And what is killing me at this time is seeing how Kaiser doctors or even just regular old private practice doctors, and how they're playing FDA role now. They're saying that the jab is actually safe and effective. Those, they have no indication of that. This is not part of their business. No physician in the private sector, and when I mean private sector, I mean your private practice, your hospitals, anything. They have no right to tell you that this is safe and effective, because it's a clinical trial. You guys understand that this whole thing is a phase 1 clinical trial. You know what phase 1 means, right? Nobody knows anything about it. This is a phase 1 clinical trial. Remember that. I have never worked a phase 1, okay? Hospitals are usually the ones that take on the phase 1s, because that's what comes after the animals, when you're testing mice and, lab rats, monkeys, things like that. It's not tested on humans. So it's unfortunate that we're in a society that is mixing this all up into, oh, your doctor says it's good. That doctor is not part of the clinical research, okay? Your doctor says it's safe and effective. That doctor is still not part of the clinical research. These studies take years, okay? They take years to find out if it's safe and effective. So if any doctors are telling you that you should get the jab and it's safe and you shouldn't have to worry about it, is completely lying to you, okay? They're only reading a script. They're being told what they're supposed to say by their establishment, whether it's Kaiser or a hospital, or now all these private practices are tied in to something. Remember when your doctor had to join a different practice, or they had to join a hospital, or they had to join an IPA or some kind of bigger thing? It's because we're gearing up for socialized medicine. And a lot of people are confused on socialized medicine. It sounds really great. But when you have a government that's controlling your care, it's not so great, because those doctors are not allowed to treat you the way they want to treat you. They have to follow the rules if they want to keep their license. So I can't urge you enough to do your own due diligence, to look at what we're doing, in our medicine. It's horrible. I worked, 7-8 years in clinical research, right? So I was a coordinator for a private practice. And again, totally different agencies. We're talking about good clinical practice. We're talking about ethics committees. We're talking about IRBs. So totally different from your standard of care. This is about ethics. The whole idea of clinical research is based on ethics, because we have to be able to test certain drugs. And how are we going to do that if we're unethical about it? That's something else, guys. So this is the Belmont Report, and this is something that it's part of the Belmont Report, I should say, and it basically is the ethics and principles. So I'm going to read this to you. When a clinician departs in a significant way from standard or accepted practice, the standard of care, the innovation does not in and of itself constitute research, okay? The fact that a procedure is experimental in the sense of new, untested, or different does not automatically place it in the category of research. Radically new procedures of this description should, however, be made the object of formal research at an early stage to determine whether they are safe and effective. It is the responsibility of the medical practice committees, for example, to insist that a major innovation be incorporated into a formal research project. Research and practice may be carried on together when research is designed to evaluate the safety and efficacy of a therapy. This need not to cause any confusion regarding whether or not the activities require review. The general rule is that if there isn't any element of research in an activity, that activity should undergo review for the protection of human subjects. And that's just a little portion of it, okay? This is like a side note, because it's separating standard of care from a clinical research trial. And these jabs are part of an experimental research trial. Understand that. So the fact that your physician or anybody else is telling you that this is part, that this is safe, this is effective, this is, this is what it is. Are they part of that trial? Are they on the delegation log to be a part of that trial? Are these people authorized to even discuss it with you? Because the number one step in clinical research is informed consent, okay? Informed consent. The Belmont Report, again, this is just, it's the boundaries between practice and research, okay? What I'm saying is that everybody's intertwining them. So many people are confused on how this should be. Don't let it confuse you. Ask questions, okay? Your doctor's telling you it's safe and effective. Ask them, oh, what study did that come from? Do you have that data? I bet you they can't produce it because they're just being told what to do. And at this time, the AMA, where are they? Where is the AMA right now? I haven't heard anything. Everything's CDC, NIH, FDA. Those agencies have never participated in the standard of care. Okay, they have never dictated how a doctor should treat a patient. They have never been involved in that because they're just regulators. They're not caregivers. Okay. And recently, I've been involved with a lot of different grassroots efforts, right? There's a lot of people that are coming forward. They're confused. They're starting to get information about certain effects that are happening to children and to others. There's absolutely a rise of concern, and rightfully so, because a lot more information is coming forward now that it's been a year. So people like Dr. McCullough, who has been fighting this, okay, from the beginning, and he's a researcher, and he's also a private practice physician. These doctors have been pulling their own data, and he's just one of many, many others, thousands, okay, thousands of others. Trying to bring this information to light, putting it into, Supreme Court. They won't even accept it. So this is the fight that we're up against, you guys. Don't be so quick to call us anti-vaxxers, because there's people that actually understand this process because they've either worked it or they're just their gut is telling them something different. And I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna come back and talk to you a little bit about the philosophy of both sides, Western medicine and physical medicine. I'll be right back.